Throughout history, it's been called many names. The Eye of Horus, the Inner Eye, the Seat of the Soul, the Ashna, the All-Seeing Eye, the Epicenter of Enlightenment, and the Third Eye. Yet truth be told, they are all one and the same. In medical terminology, it's most commonly referred to as the pineal gland. This tiny endocrine gland, which is situated on the back portion of the third cerebral ventricle of the brain, produces a hormone called melatonin, which is used to maintain the circadian rhythm, which typically are physical, mental, and behavioral changes that follow an approximate 24-hour cycle. Simply put, this gland regulates your sleep and wake patterns. The pineal gland is considered by many the most mysterious organ in the endocrine system. The gland itself often appears calcified in X-rays due to fluoride, calcium, and phosphorus deposits that generally build up over time. As a matter of fact, the Egyptians were well aware of the existence of this tiny gland. And if you look closely at most of their hieroglyphics, you will see that it's depicted as a single eye, which is commonly referred to as the Eye of Horus. The Eye of Horus is believed to have been a powerful symbol of protection in ancient Egypt. But in reality, it's so much more than that. If you didn't know by now, the Egyptians were among the very first people to develop a written knowledge of anatomy. Thus, their surgeons knew very well where the major organs were located in the body. Consequently, the Eye of Horus might not actually have been a symbol of protection, but an anatomical roadmap of where the pineal gland is located within the human brain. Now let's compare a picture of a normal brain. If you look closely, the pineal gland is located in the area marked by the red arrow. But here's where it gets interesting. If you were to place the Eye of Horus symbol right on top of an anatomical diagram of the human brain, you will see the resemblance is uncanny. Even the location of the eye matches perfectly with the location of where the pineal gland is situated. Coincidence? I think not. In my opinion, the Egyptians were far more advanced than we previously thought. In fact, they might have already known that the third eye is the gateway to spiritual knowledge. Hence, their amazing mathematical skills in the construction of the pyramids. Many people in the spiritual community already know that the pineal gland, or third eye, is actually the sixth chakra. When this chakra is activated through repetitive exercises such as meditation, it allows the two hemispheres of the brain to function in synchrony. The energy contained in the sixth chakra allows us to connect with our higher self. It allows us to cut through the illusion of the third dimension, and it gives us access to deeper truths that we previously were unable to see with our primitive mind. Therefore, we also gain access to unlimited creativity and analytical thinking. That is why others have referred to the pineal gland as the seat of the soul. Because it is through this gland that we are able to connect with our higher consciousness. I believe that it is only when the scientific and medical community acknowledge this fact that we will begin to see the potentiality for true spiritual human advancement that will propel our civilization into a new golden age, where there are no boundaries and no limitations. If you're still skeptical as to the power of the brain and the universe contained therein, then let's take a look at one of the most famous paintings of the 15th century, which was drawn by the great Renaissance artist Michelangelo. This piece of art is called The Creation of Adam. Do you see the hidden meaning? Look harder. Well, if you didn't, that's okay. The painting itself illustrates the biblical creation narrative of the book of Genesis, in which God breathed life into Adam. But why is God flying with a red cape? Most importantly, why does the cape look so familiar? Well, that's because the cape itself is an illustration of the human brain. Obviously, Michelangelo was trying to tell us something through his artwork, and what he was trying to say is that the spiritual world that God inhabits isn't in some distant universe, but inside of ourselves. The connection with the angelic realm and the higher sources of light resides deep within that tiny pine cone shaped gland, which we call the pineal gland. Think of it as an antenna that can tune into different frequencies, creativity, and even other dimensions. This same gland has been the fuel source of divine creativity for many of the great civilizations of the past, and other great minds such as Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, and even Albert Einstein. It's no coincidence that the pineal gland becomes much more active at nighttime when it's dark, at which time it secretes more melatonin. Hence why meditation is such a powerful tool in awakening this powerful chakra. Throughout history, pine cones have served as a symbolic representation of human enlightenment. That is why the pineal gland was named after the pine cone, and amazingly enough, it resembles one as well. Here are some depictions of the pine cone, illustrated by various cultures and religions across the ages. Obviously, history is trying to tell us something, but we become so obsessed with the material world that we've forgotten our past and the knowledge of the ancients. What's worse is that spiritual symbols such as the third eye are now being associated with occult practices, secret societies, and dark mysticism, when in fact, this spiritual organ is a gift from Source itself, which is God, so that we could have a two-way line of communication via our divine temple, which is our body. And yes, that includes the brain and everything in it. In fact, let me enlighten you with another similar case of misinformation. I'm sure all of you know this symbol. It's called the swastika, which is now sadly associated with Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement. But in reality, this is a sacred symbol in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism that dates back to 11,000 years. Now, thanks to Hitler, this one sacred peaceful symbol is now an icon of pure evil. Thus, it's very important that we don't give symbols such as the third eye any negative associations, because we would be marginalizing the sacred connection between us and the divine. Divine inspiration, or any inspiration for that matter, comes not from the third eye figuratively, but from the pineal gland itself. So understand that this is an organ of spiritual vision, and the ancient civilizations of the past knew this information. Unfortunately, many of us are so misinformed and gullible that we buy into whatever they tell us. If you truly want to know and find the truth, then I suggest you go deep within yourself to find those answers. Don't rely on any external stimuli to offer you the whole truth, because it won't. Those who seek darkness will find it and be consumed by it, and those who seek the light will be enlightened by it and will forever be awakened. Remember this, my friends, there is no denying that there is evil in this world, but the light will always conquer the darkness. Peace.